Hey everyone, my name's Andy. My channel's Finding Value. If you like investing in undervalued assets, the channel for you. That's all we do is look for undervalued assets. Click the subscribe button. Give me a thumbs up if you like this content. We're going to go over nickel shortages. So we're going to look at the supply demand of nickel, market balances, all those things, the cost curve, just to see what nickel looks like. Let's jump in here and look at the nickel shortage. So nickel shortages. Nickel worldwide production has been relatively flat for the past several years despite a steady increase in demand. Just in the first half of 2019 alone, nickel prices rose by more than a third, with prices expected to increase even more. Tesla will continue to focus more on nickel, part of the plan by Chief Executive Elon Musk, to use less cobalt in battery cathodes. Sumitomo Metal Mining Company of Japan recently told journalists that they are facing a deficit in production of almost 51,000 tons for the 2019 calendar year. So, future demand. Industry analysts expect the worldwide demand for Class 1 nickel, the highest purity grade, to increase by a factor of almost 16 times the demand we are seeing today in 2019. Nickel is used in a lot of different manufacturing processes. Some analysts are predicting that unless nickel production increases significantly within the next 10 years, demand will greatly outpace production sometime by 2035. Here is the price of nickel. Now keep this out of mind. We broke to the upside, and we're at around 18,244. 18,244 puts us at about here, which means that we can open up some of these mines, but are still below some of the very high cost producers. So it's still a very good time to enter these, nickel producing companies. So looking ahead, this is what the supply, we've got the consumption or demand. This is what the supply looks like. This probable projects right here. And it really starts to blow out after, I'd say, in 2023, 2024, this gap gets quite substantial. You'll probably run out of inventory, then it gets, it's game on after that. I mean, that's a big gap. So we've got a very good supply-demand market balance in terms of investing opportunities because of the deficits out in front of us. This is world nickel extraction projections. Someone did a projection on this. They're thinking that the peak could be 2019, 2020, or potentially maybe maybe 2027, somewhere in there, and a very big difference between these two projections. But it's in front of us pretty soon, actually. Now here's the big boy nickel producers: Vale, Norilsk Nickel, BHP Billiton. Those are the ones that I really like. And then this is the whole list right here in terms of the top producers, production in 1,000 metric tons of nickel. So Vale achieves the vast majority of their revenue actually from mostly iron ore, but they also have base metals, copper, and nickel. Meaning that Vale is predominantly an iron ore producer with some nickel, copper, and coal revenues. Vale is premium producer with 60% of its production being Class 1 nickel. I think Vale is a great opportunity for investment. I like it quite a bit, and I like everything that they mine. In the commodities bull market, they're going to absolutely crush it. Norilsk, NILSY. It's a large diversified Russian miner and a global #2 nickel producer with the world's largest nickel reserves. They're also the #1 nickel low-cost producer with the largest nickel sulfide deposit in the world. This is their breakdown by revenue. You've got platinum, other copper, nickel, and palladium. And I like all those. I like all of those metals. Norilsk is a top-tier nickel stock due to their #2 global nickel producer status, industry low cost of production, and industry-leading nickel sulfide reserves. At 27% of revenue, investors will also need to be neutral or positive on palladium and copper. And obviously, I'm a copper bull, and I think palladium will do just fine. BHP Group. The main drivers of BHP's revenue is iron ore, copper, coal, and petroleum. And noting BHP recently sold off their U.S. shale assets to BP. BHP has plans to expand nickel sulfate production to meet future battery demand, with Stage 1 at Nickel West targeting expansion to 100,000 tons per annum nickel sulfate. Stage 2 to follow. They also plan to produce some cobalt sulfate. So I like BHP Group quite a bit. Nova Royalty, that's the royalty company, nickel and copper focused royalty company, tied with Metallo Royalty Company. They are acquiring royalties in this area that are long life and being advanced by major mining companies. Has had a recent run up in price. So I don't know if I'd jump right into it, but maybe I'd go cost average in very slowly and maybe perhaps wait for a pullback. But we'll see if we get a pullback, maybe not. But I'm more than likely I think we will because it's had a very monster run up. So the conclusion here is nickel demand is coming and supply isn't there. We need to look into investments to capitalize on this opportunity. Nickel inventory is declining. We want to focus on class 1 nickel, high purity. I've got the ticker symbols there. Those are the ones that I like. Again, this is not financial advice. This is just a financial education channel. And I am stating what I am doing, how I'm participating in the copper, nickel, iron ore, zinc, tin, cobalt. All of these commodities will eventually go higher, and these are some diversified miners, pay very good dividends that I think are lower risk that could pay out quite substantially over this long bull market of commodities. They did exceptionally well during the last commodities boom. I expect them to do exceptionally well during this commodities boom. So these are my companies. These are the ones that I like. I like nickel. I think it's a great opportunity. And if you don't have any nickel producers in your portfolio, I think you should potentially start looking into acquiring some nickel producers to get them into your portfolio. Thank you for listening. Subscribe to the channel. Give me a thumbs up. Finding value.